All right. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good day, good morning, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the trip. I'm DWTT. I'm Gary. As some of you know, we've got small guests, small panel today, but it might grow. We'll see how it goes. Tony, co-host, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just finished a walk, eating some tacos, walked the dog, got a beer. So
Tony. All right. And also, we've got Mr. Tom from the dungeon. You know, a part of the panel, but he's been a regular now. How you doing?
Thank you for having me, host and co-host.
Cool.
Tom's become a closet Gunner fan.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll say that. I don't know if he'll claim that.
Yeah, that talk gets you killed around Leeds. So
As long as we don't buy any of your players, you'll be happy, right?
well, a price can be negotiated, I suppose. I mean, I know
There we
you've
go.
got money to spend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it might be like a 8 year paid over like 8 years.
cool.
Why you got to upset me with 2 minutes on the clock, Tony?
There you go. Welcome to the show, Stephen. How you doing? Yeah. All right. So I'm smiling just because as soon as we start talking football, it's going to probably turn and change. So at least Mr. Tom will be happy about talking football today, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
I'll be thrilled to talk football, Sir Gary. Thrilled.
Tom, you only have a 5% chance of getting relegated with the second toughest schedule left. You should be
I know.
ecstatic.
I am ecstatic, but you got to be careful with these things because they can turn very quickly. So you just
Yeah,
got to
we
be
know, we
careful.
know that. Me and Gary know that.
We
Yeah.
do. We
No,
do.
I don't want to go right in. I don't.
No, we don't want to go into the happy football, so we'll start with the Arsenal football. Uh-oh, it looks like Tom might froze on us. Maybe he'll the dungeon's having some Wi-Fi problems, so maybe he'll join us back in a little bit.
Maybe
All right,
somebody escaped and took out his Wi-Fi and
there you
took out Tom.
go. Yeah, pulled out some wires when they were escaping. But anyways, let's go ahead and get
My
started. You
bad.
you kind of
Yep, you're
froze. Yeah,
back.
you
Sorry.
froze for a second
Yeah.
there.
Sorry about that,
All right,
gentlemen. Sorry,
no
everyone.
problem. No
How
problem. So
many
we'll get
people escaped, Tom?
none. They don't. Nobody escapes. You come in, you check in, but you never check out. Here we go. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead. Let's start it up here. So let's first go with the at least my initial thoughts on the game. I guess just to start, I did a watch along, and it's getting monotonous. I'm feeling the same way each time I go and watch these games now. At least the last two. They've been watch alongs, and this one you look at the first thing you do is look at the lineup, of course, because now we're at that stage where it's you never know what you're going to get. We used to know who was going to start, and that was happy times. We enjoyed it every week. Now don't know who's going to start, and we don't know who's going to start where. So that's been a problem. I see Big Gunner's in the house. Hello, Big Gunner. Welcome. We just started talking about the game. Mr. Mark is in the house. How are you doing? How are you doing? Yeah, what does it say, Gary? Did you just? Yeah, I don't know. It was football. You're right about that. So let's continue on. So, like I said, you look at the lineup and you think about, okay, what is he going to do all week? Well, I always say it's all about the perfection. We need perfection. We need no injuries and no illnesses and no cards. And so far, we've only been able to maintain no cards. So that's been a problem. So game, you look at the game and like, all right, well, we put all four youngsters in there, all right, Martinelli, Saka, Milswift Rowe, and Erdegaard, and you're thinking, all right, well, at least we're going to be able to maybe put some pressure on them attack wise, and hopefully the game will go that way. But it didn't. Uh, I kind of feel like mentally the team's not there, and this is for me an Arteta issue. He needs to get his team ready to play every game, especially after the way they played the last game. It'd be one thing if um, it's something new, but we've seen this consistently where they kind of lose their urgency when they get into games and lose their momentum that they've built up. and I think the international break killed us. So that's kind of my initial thoughts. I think, yeah, I thought we should be able to get something out of this game. This was a team that hadn't won in like 2 months. Everything was set up for us. Crystal Palace was playing well, had beaten some big teams. All right, I'll take it. Brighton, not good at all. 7 games, 1 goal, no wins. Got a chance. You should get your points. We looked worse against them than we did against Crystal Palace. It's, to me, as far as the way we played, because of the level of competition that we're playing against. So, Tony, how do you tell me about your initial thoughts on the game?
I just want to put my hand on the face when I seen Xhaka back there as left back. Just either put Xhaka back there or just try Tavares. Arteta's already given up on him too early. Yanked him out of a game. Yanked him out of another game, his last 2 starts. So his confidence is probably not very good. Arteta doesn't like taking times with the youth. If you're not up to par, he just pretty much drops you and moves on. But initial lineup, like I said, I was kind of scared seeing him back there. I liked where Smith Rowe was. Didn't work as good as it should have because Saka was drifting way up the pitch. He's supposed to be left back, but he's way up the pitch. I didn't know who was dropping back there, and there we go, and allow 2 easy goals again.
Cool. And I guess I'll let you talk a little bit about at least what you want to talk about, Tom. If you want to talk about Arsenal to start.
No, I'll talk about Arsenal. Happily talk about Arsenal. I thought it was quite shocking, if I'm being honest, because I'm not a betting man, but I would have put the house on Arsenal to beat Brighton. Arsenal. That was.
I know Tom had us still in the top 4, and I don't think probably Tom will still have us finishing in the top 4.
Tom, you froze again there, so we didn't catch that last statement.
Oh, sorry. I just think it was shocking that you lost. Quite frankly, like there's no other way. How else can I word it? I wouldn't have in a million years thought you'd lose that game, but you did. And Brighton, like you already said, they hadn't won for 2 months, but then they've barely won since September. Like, if they hadn't started the season with like 4 wins out of 5, they would be in the relegation mix. They've not been good.
Nope.
But somehow they turned up at your place and turned into Barcelona at 89 minutes, which was enough to do you in. Somehow it was. And I don't know. I still, to be fair to Arsenal, 9 times out of 10, that Eddie Nketiah header is going in the corner and it's going in the goal. But the goalkeeper pulled off a great save and they left with the points. That's football.
Yeah, I mean, if we're depending on Nketiah to get us goals, then yeah, that we are in trouble right now. I mean, he's not good. I was listening to a podcast today, and I don't know if he'll see the podcast today, but Glenn Wynn on one of these podcasts, somebody I follow, he mentioned about Lacazette and Nketiah and inconsistency of Nketiah, and that's probably why he plays. And I'm like, he's consistent, all right, to get on the field with Arteta, but he's not consistent enough to score a goal. And for me, that's why I kind of look at Pepe as maybe an answer, because he's inconsistent in everything that Arteta wants to do, but the one thing he provides is an opportunity to score a goal. And we need goals. You can't win a game 0-0 as far as I'm concerned. It's never happened and it never will. So if you need goals, you should go to the guy that's going to get you goals. And maybe he'll get you goals every other time and not once in a while. But Eddie gives you nothing. And right now, Lacazette gives you nothing. So I don't know. It should be, for me, I think these things are easy. We just complicate them as humans. And that's kind of what Arteta did. And, as far as the scoring, That's my problem with the scoring.
I just had a thought on Eddie. You treat your club treats Eddie the way we treat Tyler Roberts, in that he generally gets thrown in at the deep end when it's not going swimmingly, and then he's expected to drag you out of it, and he ain't going to. And then
Especially
when
with like 10 to 15 minutes left.
Yeah, but we do it with Tyler Roberts. He'll get brought on in the last 20 minutes of a game, and the mere sight of him is enough for like the crowd to like turn on the game, sort of thing. Because then we're fucked because we're bringing on this cunt. Pardon my language, and I'm not against Tyler Roberts, but that I get the impression he is your Tyler Roberts in that I think Eddie's quite good. And he's a threat if he's put in position to be a threat. But I don't think he's the sort of player you rely on to get you out of a jam. He needs to be starting games and then getting goals from the front. And then you can build that confidence where he feels like he can get a goal in any situation. But you're not going to get that from it because he's not a fighter. He's just someone who, if you put the ball on the spot to him, he'll find the net. But again, that ain't going to come to him when you're behind in a game with 10 minutes to go. And then you're going, go on, mate. Go and drag us out of it. You ain't going to get that from him. He's not that sort of player.
What's funny is I don't. Yeah. No, I was going to say, I don't think most Arsenal fans actually think that when Nketiah comes on, that we have an opportunity now to score. I don't think any of us think that way. The only person who thinks that is Arteta. The only person that thinks that is Arteta. Maybe he thinks that. Maybe he even thinks that. But when he comes on, we pretty much assume that. Guess what? Well, it's almost like a defensive. The games that no more scoring is going to happen. At least for us, right? It's like we kind of put in our own defense because he just hasn't been good about it. It's, and you know what that is for me, that is the coaching that's lacking, right? And Nketiah does have some skills. He does have a talent that you can utilize if you put him in the right positions, and we don't, right? In the end of the game, when we need to score, there's certain things you should be doing to get him in that position, and we've only seemed to have done that maybe I think one time in like the last 2 months, and that was against Wolves when we were down and we came back. We kind of just said, you know what, open the floodgates, just get what you can, and we need to score, and we did that, and it worked there. But there is 90 minutes to a game, and we need to be able to play 90 minutes. And we'll get to this comment here. Let's go to this comment here as far as left back, because I think that kind of is the start of basically a lot of problems deciding what to do with the left back. So Tierney's out. All right. He was out a lot last year. So Arsenal goes out and gets a left back to cover for him, right? That's what you're thinking. We're now finding out that that's not true. We bought a player that could play the position, has some certain skills, Tavage, and good going forward. Not so good coming back and defending, but that's to be just expected from younger players out of a different league, learning the ropes. They're going to have to hopefully learn it, and quickly, you would hope. So, Tony, talk to me a little bit about Tavage. And actually, talk to me about the left back, and that will include everything that happened with that.
Yeah, to me, you definitely don't put Xhaka back there. And if you are putting Xhaka back there, you're telling him to stay put back there. But instead, he's marching way up the pitch, doing what Tierney does, doing what Tomiyasu does. He's not meant to be a wing back. He doesn't have the speed to get back and cover. So that's definitely putting Gabriel and White under pressure. Then at halftime, let's put Martinelli back there. Which makes zero sense when you have Saka that is actually good in the position. Did I take one of your attacking players? You take Saka and put him back there, then throw on
sorry,
Pepe or
Tony. Did you play Saka at left back in this game?
No, we played Martinelli. We played Martinelli at left back. for the second
Right.
half.
But late in the game, not the start, of course.
Oh, right. Okay. Who
The
started
second
left
half.
back?
Basically, entire
Who
second half. Yeah.
started the night? Who started the 90 at left back?
Zaka started at left back. Granite.
Right. Is Tavares injured or just dropped?
Nope. Just dropped.
But wait, so
Arteta
you
just-
bought him to play. You bought him to cover. Sorry. I'm not an Arsenal fan, so this is just my understanding based on what is being said here and in this comment section. You bought a player to play at left back to replace the player who's injured last year and is injured now for the rest of the season, to my understanding. But this player that you purchased is good to go, and you didn't play.
Pretty much, Tom.
Why? Why did this happen? Sorry.
We have a
Sorry,
thing.
everyone.
We have a thing that we created last year. It's called Lego Binary, trying to make sense of Arteta's tactics when there's no rhyme or reason for him.
Jesus
That's
Christ, I don't
Lego
even care what happens
binary
to your
for you.
team, and I'm mad at this. I don't even understand it. I just. What?
Give the young guy a
All right.
chance. Now he's pulled him twice at halftime. Didn't start him this game. Didn't bring him on as a substitute. Like I said earlier, he should have been playing in cup competitions instead of having Tierney and other starters doing it. Now he's not up to par, according to Arteta. Doesn't get game time. Makes zero sense to me. To me, you either go to a back three and have somebody very attacking as the left wing back, which would probably be my preferred thing, is playing Saka back there, or even Martinelli, because I don't mind Martinelli back there because he can defend, he'll put in a shift. But I'd rather have Saka back there because he's done it before.
So
If you're not
in
that play
summer,
Tavares, but I would play
are you
Tavares.
going to buy another left back? Is this going to be a thing?
It wouldn't surprise me. We're looking at a left winger, and I don't know why we're looking at a left winger when we got
Right.
Martinelli and Smith Rowe. Makes no sense looking at a left winger when we got a.
Jesus Christ, have you got a shopping list for the summer? Because you're probably going to buy a striker. From listening to Arsenal fans for near enough a year, basically listening to you guys, it sounds like you need a striker, you need a left back, and you need a central midfielder to replace Xhaka. Because he's like your main experienced striker, not striker.
Yeah,
well,
but we need multiple
midfielder.
strikers and multiple midfielders.
Yeah, we're light and up top and right in the middle of the pitch. So yeah, we need easy 6 players, and none of them are left back. All right, they shouldn't be left back. Maybe a right back, but I don't think we need a right back either. We're fine there, it seems, right?
Yep.
We might need a center back, depending on what we're doing with Marie and Saliba.
Sounds like he's going. 3 definitely isn't enough on center backs.
So
even if we bring Saliba back, 4 isn't enough.
So so we went out, we bought cover for our left back, and then we didn't. For me, it starts with the way that you utilize the players, right? If you bring in a young player and you want them to grow and you want them to actually become cover for one of your players, you don't sit them, right? You don't sit them over and over again, and that's what we did. We sat him long enough that he did start out the season and play well, and then you could start to see the gaps in his game when we played the better teams. But I believe young players need to keep playing, or else why don't bring them in? You loan them out, right? Either you're going to play the player, especially when they're coming in for a reason, right? Now, everybody that we brought in, young player, they have a purpose. Somebody's supposed to come in to back up, I believe, Partey, right? And I don't even know if he can back up Partey. I don't think he's a CD. He can play that role in front of the back line. So it's
Eddie's running. Sorry, Eddie's running his contract down, isn't he?
He has to. Well, definitely. And Arsenal should have just did the same thing they did to Aubameyang, right? So if you're gonna
I've heard that a certain team in Yorkshire are going to take him when he runs his contract down. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be the most upset with that, I must admit.
Mm.
So I would gladly retake Eddie off your hands, but you know.
Yeah. And this is what happens every season. Exactly here what Big Gunner says. And let me just say hi to everybody in the chat. So I should say a little hi to everybody who's joined us. Big Gunner has joined us. The Assembled has joined us is here. Steve Denham joined us. Hello. Anybody else before I continue and go back?
Mark has joined us too.
Mark was, yeah. I think I gave Mark a little hello. When
You did.
Yeah, so.
My
You haven't missed
apologies.
anybody,
You did do
Gary.
that.
Yeah, so but I think this right here is what Arteta has done consistently. Consistently has told young players, "I'm going to give you the time you need. There's no reason for you to leave." And then when they decide to stay, he shuts them out. And then when he does play them and he doesn't get performances out of them, then he has a reason not to play them anymore. And it's like you create the mess, and then you try to fix the then you try to coach at and try to manage at that point, right? You don't, if a player's not doing it for you, then you sit them out. But guess what? If you don't give them the opportunities to grow, it's like elephant graveyard. We basically just wait long enough, and then eventually, guess what? They will die off, and that's kind of what their talents basically are worthless to you, and that's what we're seeing with Nketiah. We saw it with Maitland-Niles. I mean, think of all the young players that have had opportunities to play for us, and we haven't played them enough. They just, Tavai, same thing. He needs to play. He's not experienced enough to be able to sit for like 10 games and then come in and perform for you. Only experienced players can do that, and only big, teams that actually have big squads can do that, because you'll see. Think of any of the teams, the big teams at the top of the table. They have certain players that don't play every game, and when they do perform, and when they do come on, they perform, right? Because they're usually seasoned veterans. They've done this thing before. So, Arteta doesn't have that, and he needs to keep the oils, keep the wheels greased, or the whatever they call it, the ball bearings lubed up, or whatever they call it, so that the players don't get tight and lose their form. So I know what you guys think. I kind of went rambling there, but yeah, that's kind of what I think about the whole Eddie thing. We've seen it with Maitland-Niles, and the thing is, Maitland-Niles actually showed up, and he still got put to the side. Eddie, as far as in the cup games,
sounds like you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah.
Sounds like you don't have to worry about him for much longer.
Yeah, and you know what? If he's not going to come back, and this is a club, why aren't you letting some of the other players get an opportunity?
It makes no sense, because the summer before this summer, we got offered $20 million for him. He's like, no, he's part of the plans. Didn't play him virtually any last season. Then he wanted to move this season, saying, no, you're in my plans. Ends up not playing him for the first 6 months, then sends him out on loan. And just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Either you're part of a plan or you're not. Stick by him. Because everybody forgets how big of a role he played at left back during the FA Cup run. I don't care if Aubameyang scored 3 goals and was semifinal and final combined. Much of what we did was because of Niles' wing play, because that was the only way we could get the ball up. We couldn't connect to Aubameyang going through the middle because our midfield sucked. Still haven't addressed the midfield. But he was a viable backup option at left back or right back or central defensive mid, kind of like Chambers. We sold both of them. We could have used both the players. And I'll just go off of what I said starting in October, is that we needed to beat the teams in November and December. Get into the top 4, top 6, anywhere in there would be fine, then reinforce in the winter. We didn't do that. Now we got 2 injuries. No telling what will happen with illnesses and all that. Just top 4 was in our grasp. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a 75% chance of qualifying. Now it's down to 36, so we're went from 75 to 36, cut our chances in half.
I'm surprised it's as high as 36.
I'm surprised it is too. I'd figure it'd be like 15. That's what I would give us, 15 to 20.
I thought it would be none, considering you lost to Crystal Palace and Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you look at the games we had, 10 games we had to play. The first 3 should have been guaranteed 3 points. If your ambitions are top 4, you have to win those games. They're against teams that are, either struggling, teams that you've beaten luckily, and then maybe you'll come out and you play better
against. I don't mean to
against.
insult the 2 clubs. Just should beat them if you want to finish 4th.
No. If your ambitions are to get top 4, then you need to be beating those teams. That should just be, that's what we do. With top 4, you are towards the bottom of the table. We beat you. That's all that happens. That's just the way it goes because we are a better team. We are coached better. We've got better players. All of that. We're finding out, and we're finding as anything. We're finding out that if you're not coached well, this is what you're going to get, right? And this is that comment here from Steven about the money for Chambers. I thought, I believe it's $2 million that we get for him, and I'm like,
I'm not sure. It's kind of mixed. Some people say 0, some people say 2 million.
Two for me, and 0. They're about the same in terms of like what.
Just having him as options worked $2 million for me. I kept him.
I just don't get the reasoning behind letting him go at all. Right?
Nope.
So, so these are certain things. I think there are some comments that I kind of wanted to talk about. We did talk about this one, so we'll move on. Okay. Yeah, this is a good one to talk about. I think Tony I think we talked about this in our group chat.
Yep.
This is a problem. This is a problem.
And that's the problem of it is that we don't have a plan B. Because like you mentioned in our group chat, I was talking about how Lacazette's been double teamed now. Vieira basically said he set out to squash him, so he couldn't do any of his link-up play, and he's hasn't done anything in the last 3 games basically in link-up plays. His assists have dried up. He was creating assists virtually every game, but now teams have figured out our tactics. We have to do something different, and we're not doing it. I don't care what we try. We have to try something different. Doesn't matter if it's Smith Rowe is striker, Martinelli is striker, Pepe is striker.
Do you think your
back
team
as Cam? Anything, just try something different. At this point, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Because you're out of the top 4 now. You got to try to get back in it. You're not going to do it by the same old tactics. Because everybody's figured it out. You can see what we're doing. Especially now that Partey's out. You don't have Tierney running up the left side. So we're down 2 threats. 2 things that was helping. Partey was one of the biggest parts of a resurgence because he's finally was the midfielder we wanted. Pushing the ball forward, lots of through balls, lots of long passes. Finally penetrating up the middle, something we haven't done for 2 or 3 seasons. Now he's gone. I think Sambi can do a lot of that, but he isn't giving him a go. Instead, we're trying Zaka as a 8, a 10, now left back. I mean, what's he to be next? Striker? Won't surprise me if Arteta would put him in as striker. It's just our tactics have to change.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else more to say on that comment there. Oh wait, is this the one? Yeah. I mean, this is the problem. He doesn't put some of the players that we think should go in that position, right? I mean, it's not that. I mean, there are other players, and he seems to stick to just. He's got it. Once again, he's down to a script, and he doesn't want to change it, even if it's not working. Right?
I've never seen somebody that stubborn. He obviously watches the game film afterwards and see that it just totally doesn't work. But he's like, this is what I want to do. Just keeps on doing it. And
He
it's like
just wanna
last
copy
season, he's seen
Liverpool.
what worked with Smith Rowe and Lacazette up there. And he persisted with Aubameyang until he got in too much trouble, had a fight with the coaching staff or whatever really went down there. But without injuries or discipline, he doesn't make changes. He just does the same thing. He's stubborn. He's like, this is what I want to work. I don't care if these players fit the role right or not. I don't care if I have players that can fill these roles. I don't care if I got academy players that I might be able to try and get something out of. He's like, no, I'm going to persist with these guys. You see that by not signing any players in January, getting rid of 3 players. 2 of, like I said, are utility players that can basically play 5 or 6 positions. To me, that's kind of invaluable. Beats $2 million or a free transfer, whatever it was with Chambers. But just the guy does not have a plan B, and that's why I don't think he's good enough for a job. I think the players have dug him out of a hole. They beat with teams we should have in November and December. We weren't beating top teams. We see what happens when we face them. And a couple of weeks ago, I said we needed to beat 2 out of 4 out of Aston or West Ham, Man United, Chelsea, and Spurs. Now we have to beat 3 of 4 of those, or maybe all 4 of them, to qualify for Champions League, and that's a tall order.
You'll beat Villa.
Yeah, somehow we have to find 5 wins out of the 8 we're playing. I think to have a good chance, have a really good chance. So we'll see about that.
I don't think your club perceives it as a disaster if you don't finish 4th. I think your club just want to get back into Europe, even if it's Thursday nights.
Yeah, and that's just.
That's the problem.
I'm not saying they don't want 4th. What I'm saying is, if you don't get, because really, your Arteta is more advantageous to his job to have that gradual, like 8th, 6th, 5th, 4th, because then he can always turn around to his bosses and go, well, I'm improving your team every year, so you'd be stupid to sack me. Now, that's not quick enough for your liking, but for him personally, he will retain his job if that happens.
Yep.
And you know what? That right there is somebody who doesn't overachieve, and that right there is not what you call a top line, a future good manager coach. That's that right. If you look at it, you say, okay, these are all of the characteristics of a good manager, a good coach. Guess what they do? They overachieve, right, with what they have, especially in their younger ages, right, in their younger days, and that's why they get picked for the big jobs. Because you know what? No matter what, he's going to take any of my players. He's going to make them good. That's what they do. That's what all of them do. I mean, Bielsa probably does that, right? When he has control, you expect him to make magic happen, right? That's why he's considered a good manager, right? Not because, you know what, I'm just going to give you some.
Made a miracle happen.
Well, exactly. So that's what managers do. The good ones take things, take a mess, and create magic with it, create a masterpiece with it, right? Chelsea, everybody knew it had quality players. They just needed a manager. They got a good manager, and you see what happens, right? I mean, this is what I mean, and that's for me. It's almost like this is not necessarily an interview for him, but if you're a coach, a team looking at Arteta, you're like, wait a second. So you're telling me that if we have an opportunity to maybe win the league, you aren't going to go 100% and try to do that, right? This is a similar thing, just at a different level. Are you telling me we have an opportunity to get 4th, and we look like we don't care? As either a management, the players coming out on the pitch, the formations, the changes that we make to try to get the points that we need. I mean, you tell it's and I always go back. It's kind of easy. Look at Leicester City. You're telling me that every time they went out there, they didn't think they had a chance to win, right? It's in their head. You come out every day, you expect to win. Everybody around you is struggling, but you're still pulling ahead. I mean, That's
Yeah,
why.
seems like
That's what.
Arteta was told that he gets top 6, he keeps his job. Because
That's,
last year Adu and Arteta said their goal was top 4.
yeah.
This year they've never said it.
I think
Where
the
in the-
reality of your club right now compared to say 3 weeks ago, you were front runners in a race for one spot, 4th, and you were probably looking forward going, we fancy our chances of catching Chelsea. Whereas right now, you're in the fight. Like I'm not going to say you're not in the fight because you're in the fight, but you're probably not going to win the fight because the way the fixtures are set up and the way that it's going, Tottenham are going to get it, and you're probably going to finish 5th. And I can understand why that's personally disappointing to all of you, especially because of who's going to probably end up getting 4th. But the reality is that I'll get an example of why you should be upset is the fact that in 2 weeks you've lost a 12-goal swing over Tottenham. You had better goal difference than Tottenham, and within the space of 2 weeks you suddenly haven't, because you've conceded 5 goals, scored 1, and then they've gone out and scored 4 goals on Saturday, and they had 5 the previous week. They won 5-1 against Newcastle. So they've had 8 goals go their way, and you've had 4 go in the other way, and that's just in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like this, it's potentially going to get worse because Tottenham are banging goals like for fun.
Yeah. And at this
I
point,
know you
in the
don't want to
season,
hear this, but it's what's happening.
No. And
We know it.
this is a big stunner right here. This is the business end of the season. By now, it doesn't matter if you have injuries. It doesn't matter if you have cards. It doesn't matter if you have sicknesses. You know your squad. You know what they can do, and it shouldn't matter. You, like Tony says, we need to have more than just a plan A. You need to have B, C, D. Any play that you put out there needs to be able to handle and put a job in, put some work in. Right? This is the time of the season. You've had them for over half the season now. If you can't figure out what they can do, then why are they on your squad?
And there's the fact that there's only 2 players that he hasn't signed or re-signed, which is Nketiah and Lacazette. Everybody else he's signed or extended. So they're all his players. He has no excuse. Oh, I don't like this player. This one isn't working. Well, you picked the player. You extended the player.
You know why I'm personally upset at how this has transpired is because we've already played Tottenham twice. Well, I didn't want to have to roll into the Emirates with you leading the points. Because if you need the points, you're probably going to fucking demolish us. But the reality is we're probably going to need the points.
You are overestimating what our Arsenal is right now. To me,
Tom, just double team Lacazette, and you'll be fine.
You know, and this is there was a comment in here.
No, I still fancy our chances, but it's still. I would have preferred it if you didn't need anything.
Yeah, well,
I would have preferred it if you were clear.
We've needed the points for a while.
There's a blueprint. Right? There's a blueprint to beat us now, Tom. Just follow it.
Yeah. Now you know what? And here's the thing. As long as you have Rafinha healthy out there, he will get an opportunity. He always has gotten in opportunities against us. Maybe he hasn't scored, but he's got. That's the thing. That's the thing, though. Players like that, they just need to be on the pitch, right? That's almost to me like why when you have Pepe on the pitch, he's bound to get in a position to score. Whether or not it happens is a different story, but the chances go up when he's on the pitch, you know. And Rafinha on the pitch, he's going to get an opportunity to score. He's going to make something out of nothing, or the other team's going to make a mistake and he's going to pounce on it, right? He's always ready to go, and that's kind of what I've noticed from him. And you know, that's probably why a lot of teams want to pick him up because you know what, he overachieves no matter what's going around, right? He stands out, especially when things, you know, you make a mistake, boom, you're in trouble, right? And we don't have that. There's no Arsenal player that you go, you know what, things aren't working so well, we're going to pull something out of the hat right now. Either I'm going to just take it all myself and make something happen.
I was thinking about it earlier, and I was going to say, I'm not going to say I'm not going to say we're a better team than Arsenal. Obviously, that's an absurd statement given the league positions. But our front line has the potential to hurt you. Whereas your biggest grievance as a club is you don't know where the goals come from. You've scored enough goals to be in the top 4 race, but you still sit there and we need a striker. Eddie don't do this. Martin, he don't play enough, etc. Whereas I'm sitting there going, well, we're going to stick Harrison, Rodrigo, and Rafinha up front, just behind Dan James, and we're gonna try and punch her.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's Watford, but all three of those players scored, right? So obviously, and it's we can't even say it's Watford, and so that's why it happened, right? Because Arsenal just played a team that was porous as well, and it didn't look good either. We didn't look like we were a team sitting in 5th place. I mean, compared to where they're sitting right now, compared to how they're playing. So it's all for me. It's what I see, and I don't see anything good right now. And I don't see.
Well, it's the only thing that's kept us above water, isn't it? The fact that we can score goals. We've conceded the most goals in the Premier League this season. We've conceded more goals than Norwich, but because we've scored about 3 times as many goals as Norwich, our heads are above water and they're fucked.
Yeah, you almost double the amount of goals you scored than they have.
Yeah, I'm sorry, double. Yeah. But the point is, we still have a weapon that can help us get survival. Whereas the dangerous thing is if you're in the bottom 5 and you don't know where your goals are coming from.
Yeah. And you know what? That's
what
called,
you need.
You know what that's called? That's called an identity, right? And most teams have it, regardless of whether everybody knows how Burnley's going to play. If they had better players and they played the same way, they wouldn't be sitting where they are today, right? They just don't have the best players, but they have a style of play. It works for them. It's worked for them for a while. This season, it's caught up to them. But when you letting some of your players go, that's going to hurt you as well. But yeah, identity is nobody. People talk about pattern of play, but there's also got to be an identity of the team, right? And I don't think we have that either. I mean, what I don't know. Like you said, who do we lean on?
Yeah, but you're still, and you're going to suffer this for a long time because Man United are still suffering it. You're still in the shadow of your greatest manager, same as they're in the shadow of their greatest manager, because you're still too close to it. You're still of an age where you're all old enough to be like, I remember when this happened, and it was recent. But then, by the same token, I hear people talking about the Invincibles, and the reality is that was over 15 years ago.
Yeah,
like
I can't.
if you had a child born when you went unbeaten, that child is nearly an adult. Like that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
But you're still yearning for that. I can understand you yearn. If my team went unbeaten for a season, I would not shut my fucking mouth about it. I'd probably have all 38 games like tattooed on my body or something. But but you're still searching for someone who can either be remotely close to the connection you had with Arsene Wenger, or that could stamp himself on your club.
Well, you know what? Here's something.
I know where that guy's coaching at.
No, but I was just gonna say, the way that Wenger left isn't what didn't help the team either, because I don't think he set them up to continue on from what he had built. It's kind of like he watched it kind of, the paint started to crack and, things weren't working as well. And he kind of, he left, well, I guess he got forced out, but he didn't leave a good he didn't leave a good legacy, a good, as they say, cupboard full of something, of players that a next manager could build on. Right. And that's partly him, partly Arsenal in general. But yeah, no, even though I was born, I probably, could have watched a lot of this stuff live. I wasn't in the States. Sorry, I was in the States at that point. But I can only go by what I can only go by what I see now. What Arsenal did years ago doesn't actually matter anymore. Those players are not. They're not here. Even I don't think they want us to look back because they want to see success today, right? All those those players, they want Arsenal to look good today, right? Which means we have to do better than we're doing. So all of this, all this talk about invincibles and all of that means nothing because we're porous right now as a club. So
I think the
I'm
decline of your
actually,
club.
what's funny is I'm at the age of a lot of these, these fans that are talking about, and when I say age, I mean Arsenal age, in terms of how much I've got to see of them. That I don't remember any of that stuff beforehand, like trophies, big trophies, won. But I'm a sports fan, and I'll take what I see, and so I've seen that they have
BX Gunners. Sorry,
Yeah.
BX Gunners said something, and it's exactly my opinion on your team. You never replaced him.
Yeah.
He was that good and that influential in your footballing identity, as you say, that when he left, it was like the dam burst because you never replaced him.
Yeah.
Never had that type of leadership.
A lot of teams, a lot of successful teams have the defensive midfielder that is the linchpin and allows all your sexy attacking players to do the things they're most famous for. And when that player leaves, you very quickly you see that because you can replace 30-goal season striker with a 28-goal season striker, and the difference ain't gonna be that noticeable. But when that player that protects them and mops up after them is not there, that's when you see it. And the decline of your team as a club was when you started treating fourth as a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I
can understand why as a business. I can understand the business arm of your club being like, yeah, if you finish fourth and we get the Champions League money coming in, great. But on the footballing side, it became, if we get fourth, it's fine.
Yeah,
like
I can't believe
now you want to get back up to that. Like, I can understand that. But there was a
and
time when you were 1 or 2.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's not actually the goal. And I always say that it's not really the goal. That's never the goal. That's just it's a byproduct of what you're trying to achieve, right? Every team's trying to finish number one on the table, right? Top of the table. 30th game is played. You're sitting. That's what you're striving for. If you're not striving for that, then guess what? Then you're not in this for the right thing. I mean, nobody, you put yourself in front of the goal because you want to score, not because you just want to get a shot and maybe it goes in, maybe it doesn't. No. You want to get the ball in the goal. That's why you play up there, right? As a goalkeeper, everything that comes to my goal, I want to stop it. I don't care. 100% of the time, I want to stop it, right? No matter what. That's my goal, right? It doesn't happen, but that's your goal. And if you have the mindset, then that's how it works. And that's the same thing, right? You want to see your team, finish at the top of the table, right? And if they're striving for it and you can see something, then it's good, right? I mean, there is some realization to it. Like, we all know we're not at this point in the season have that chance, and depending on how we work things in the summer, where you stand. But the ultimate goal should be striving to continue to move up the table. At some point, there's nowhere to go but where you are, and you're just stuck at the top, and that's what you want. But so that's my thinking on that one. The Vieira is. Yeah, I mean, I think Arsenal is going to miss the coaching window again. Right, I think they're going to miss the coaching window again because they're not going to want to make a change, and by the time they do, they're going to have to just, instead of just going out there and getting the best manager that's available, because you know what, you don't see 5 years from now where you want to be, right? Like right now, 5 years from now, do we see Arteta getting us to where we want to be? With all the money you throw at him, I mean, I don't, it's going to cost too much money to do that, and the teams can't afford it.
That's what happened. What happens if we spend another, say, $200 million this summer trying to get where we want to be, and he fails, and we fire him at year and a half from now. Then you bring in a
I
new
still
guy
don't
that
think
doesn't
you'll
want
fire
these
him.
players. Then you have to reinvest all that money again on players. To me, just sack the guy at the end of the year, move on. I don't think he's at work, but trust
think
the
you should fire him.
process.
You should. Currently, you should. I know it's not gone well for you for 2 weeks or 8 days with all realisticness, but you
see,
are on an upswing.
But see, this is the thing, at least for me. We all knew that our depth was a problem. It's been a problem, and it's a problem for a lot of teams. But we all knew that there are certain areas of the pitch that we just didn't have the answers for. Right?
Problem last year when we had
some of
the
them,
amount of players as a
but they
problem
didn't
last
fill
year.
other spots. Right? They didn't fill other spots. Right? We knew we did not have a goal scoring striker, at least coming into the season based on the previous season. Like I said, there's never been that Aubameyang is having another porous year. Is he going to get it right? I mean, what I saw in the preseason didn't give me hope that anything good was going to happen, and it didn't. I mean, the fact that he's our leading scorer as a striker and hasn't played for the team for 5 months now, and has gone out and doubled it. He's almost scored as many goals as Arsenal has since he left.
Yeah,
Since
he has
left
10.
in January.
He has 10, and we have 12.
Right? I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If Arsenal sacked Arteta tomorrow, who would you replace him with, realistically? I don't mean to say I will bring in Pep, because you wouldn't get Pep. But who would you realistically bring in if you sacked Arteta tomorrow or in the summer? Because I see a lot of Arteta out, but there's no idea of, all right, fine, he's sacked. Who are you going to get? Who's going to want to join Arsenal?
To me, there's two options. There's Ten Hag, who's wanted by Dortmund and Man United. And there's Vieira, that would instantly change the culture that you need. I think he'll do the culture change. He'll shape up the defense.
So you'll go from one former player to another former player?
That or Ten Hag, one of the two. Somebody can develop young players.
Yeah, I've always said that Arsenal should be able to go out there and get whoever they want to come to their club. But the problem is, it's not just for the players that they're coming. They have to come also for the management structure and the ownership above them. That's the problem, right? And that's the biggest deterrent right now.
To answer your Tom question, I'd look at somebody that can be your manager for 4 to 6 years, not a 1 or 2 year option.
Yeah,
Who would you hire, Tom?
Hey, let me just say hi to the people in the chat. Lolo has joined us. Hey, Lolo, how you doing? Miss Melina is in the house. Hello. We've been talking about the game, and we've kind of drifted off into maybe what's next. Yeah, what is next for this? What's next for Arsenal? We're already giving up Arteta's spot.
No, I asked that because I see there's a lot of obviously Arteta in, Arteta out, and the Arteta out people feel very strongly about it. But I've always wondered, well, fine, you get your wish, but then what? Who do you realistically replace him with, and would it not be more of the same? As Tony, one of Tony's ideas was a former player. It's like Arteta was a former player, and people hate it.
But there's different. There's levels to this, though. They're not. It's not like, okay, they're both captains. They both play for Arsenal, and that's where you leave it off. No, you don't. One is cherished by one is Arsenal, right? Mr. Arsenal, as some might say. That's what a captain of Arsenal looks like, right?
And one's went and had experience managing 3 different
trophies,
teams.
Right? He's been there, done that. For me, it's also he's experienced as a manager, and that's what Arsenal needed. They've needed that since they decided Emery wasn't the guy. They needed somebody with some experience, and they didn't do that. So, for me, I look at this similar to Renarsson, right? A goalkeeper we brought in. They saw him play, realized it was really a bad idea. He's just not ready for this. and he never played again for Arsenal, right?
That was the Man City game.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah, I remember it.
So to me, it's not exactly the same, but it's not on those kind of it's that kind of scenario that you're talking about. This is what you're going to
Right.
get. So either you live with a Renarson and you hope he gets better. He shows you some glimpses, and then when you need him, continue to build up the squad and keep it going. This is what you get, because now his hands are tied from the things that he's done in the past and from the way that he works with the squad. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm playing devil's advocate on it because I actually do think your next manager is Patrick Vieira. Like, I think it's tailor-made fit, but I'm just putting
if
that
they
out
get
there
if they
to
get
see what
Champions
gets
League,
said.
they could still make that move, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? So it's all about the ambitions. Once again, it's the ambitions of the team. Do they want to go out there and get the best manager they can, regardless of who they have now, right?
I think they just want to prove. I just think they want to prove they were right by Arteta. They want to keep spending the money.
Yeah.
So he's a project. It'll work. Yeah. Try to put enough money in it to make it work, even though it's not working right now. But I think the ownership's that stubborn just to keep on fighting with him. It's like when we were end of August, you had Lee Dixon on NBC Sports saying the Keys were willing to give him 2 more years. So that scared me because we were sitting there in 20th. To me, you're not looking to keep a manager for another 2 years. It's like you spend all this money on him. It's not working. I think if he wasn't a former player, he'd already been sacked. Because we were looking at Nuno last November, or season before.
I don't think he.
In November, we were looking at Nuno.
Ever being sacked. The only time he was ever remotely in trouble was around Christmas of last season. When
it was around November, they were looking. They were talking. They were putting out fillers for Nuno.
You ended up beating Chelsea, and that started Frank on his motion where he ended up being sacked. But other than that, especially since then, I think he's been perfectly comfortable in his position.
Yep, that's the only time they were looking to sack him was then, when we were sitting 15th in November.
But even then, you beat Chelsea on Boxing Day. You beat them convincingly, and then that ended up causing Frank to get sacked.
That's when Arteta discovered Smith Rowe and our season change.
Yeah, and that's the other part. That's the other part to it. That's the other part to it. If you have a seasoned manager, he doesn't have to be forced into what looks like a really good change, right? Vieira comes in and probably understands every one of his players and knows what he can get out of every one of them, right? He puts them in positions to succeed, which is I say it all the time. You're a good manager. You can take your players and put them in positions where they succeed. I mean, that's why Nketiah has some skill sets. You put him in those situations where he's going to succeed, he'll look good for you. If you ask him to do things he can't, he's not going to do anything for you. He's a waste, right?
Yep.
And, that's what you get. I mean, we have players with skills. We have good players. We can't utilize them because we don't have them working one as a team in a particular formation that works for the players on the pitch, right? I mean, Arteta, he finally got 11, 12 of the players, or 12, 13 of the players that he wanted. That's not enough. And that's not that's not even enough just to do domestic play based on what we've experienced this time around, right? You need to be able to have a lot of depth at every position, and we don't have that. We barely even we don't have a starting striker, right? We don't.
Midfield is shambles minus Odegaard.
No, well, I mean, the midfield is fine. We just don't have any depth there, and that's what we're finding out right now, right? If Partey doesn't get injured, right, then you're fine for now, right? So we've got depth in some areas, but not. One of our center backs goes down. It's a big drop off from White to Holding, no matter what you say, right? The only we are.
I know we went from 8 center backs to 3 center backs.
Yeah, we went from having players that can call themselves center backs. That was the problem. They weren't good.
I know. I forgot that Arteta was trying to re-sign Mustafi, and Mustafi said no. Thank God.
Yeah, well,
Have Arsenal got a game this weekend?
yeah. We play Southampton. So that's supposed to be a tough game because it's on the road. You know, I don't believe in all that
As long
stuff.
as you don't give away any free kicks within.
Well, then how many? Yeah, your dungeon connection's fading.
You kind of froze there, so we didn't get the actual measurement. So we're gonna have to put that up.
Hello?
You know, you can hear you a little bit now.
Give me a moment.
All right, so the dungeon is. Yeah.
The dungeon is spinning.
Yeah. No, Southampton. Nah, I don't like.
They used to be our bogey team, but I don't see it anymore. They haven't been for a few seasons.
Yeah.
Now it's Palace and some other unexpected teams.
Well, is it actually Palace? It's not even Palace. I mean, not too many teams are our bogey teams now, right? So it's time to try to come in on a different. Let's see.
Are we gonna have 2 Toms? 1 Tom.
Can you hear us?
Sorry. Yeah. And I had to put 50p in my internet. That's all I needed.
Did you go to the back corner of a dungeon and told them to pedal the bicycles faster?
That's exactly what happened. Told them to get on that.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. No, I think as long as you don't give away any free kick within 30 yards of your goal, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because Southampton's only real weapon is James Ward-Prowse, and if you don't give away free kicks, they can't score goals. So.
Yeah. If IU can score on us, then I have no doubt she Adams might get an opportunity to score on us, just the way that we've been playing. So, yeah, that's the thought. You know, and we've given up goals to strikers and forwards who shouldn't be in positions to score against us. So there you go.
Did you happen to see the miss from Max Cornet again for Burnley at Norwich?
I did not see the miss.
It is outstanding. It was harder to do what he actually did and put the ball wide from 1 yard out. Then I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
it was outrageous, and it happened.
I did not see
that.
I
predicted it. He would score. Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Sentiment or why not Spursy? Has joined us. Hello, he's definitely on the out train in terms of Arteta, right? So, and you know what? Every so often, Arteta gives us the reason why it's easy for him to be gone. This is Exhibit A right here, Exhibit Z, right? So he needs to find a way to get through this thing, and
why not? Can wait on that. The man is very safe in his job. You can tell by his actions. You can tell he's already been assured he won't be fired. Probably the only way he would get sacked if we'd lose out the rest of the season. I think even if we miss out on Europe, he won't get sacked.
Yeah. This is kind of the rest of the remaining games that we have coming up. So, I mean,
even if you finish 5th or 6th, it's an improvement on what you have done.
5th and 6th is actually that. Yeah, that I would definitely say that's worthy of him keeping his job. It's not worthy of him getting an extension.
It won't feel like an improvement because of where you actually were at the early of the year, and you've dropped into 5th. But overall, especially considering you lost your first 3 games, I mean, that I know everyone had a good old laugh at you losing your first 3 games, and admittedly, of course it was fun, but no one deep down sat there thinking this Arsenal team are going to get relegated or they're rubbish or whatever. It was like, because game 4 is against Norwich and you're going to put it right, and you did. And then I don't think you lost again for about 3 months. But
no, but if you look at that, right, we started out with a 9-goal deficit, and we've swung that around. We've it's 18 goal swing on your goal difference, right, based on where we are today. So that is progress. That is good, and that's it just shows that if you plan better, maybe you're not so bad in the first 3 games of the season. You can build on that. What does this say? Oh, no, I did see. I don't know if any of you guys saw that that tweet where it goes through basically the number of sackable offenses that Arteta has produced in his tenure here.
Some of those I wouldn't have had on there, like dropping Aubameyang. That would have been one of them for me. There's some of them I would have added on there that wasn't on there. But
I mean, you know what? Dropping him after
he
paying
was right
him,
to drop Aubameyang though.
Dropping him
yeah,
after,
that's what I said.
but the reason
That
why
was
you
the
had to
right
drop
decision.
him, why did you have to drop him? Is the reason why it's sackable, right? I'm going to go out there, I'm going to take a striker, I'm going to pay him all this money, and then somehow all of a sudden our communication breaks down, and he doesn't really want to be part of this team anymore after spending all this money and saying he wanted to be a legend and all of this stuff.
Yeah, but he persisted with him for 17 months. Then he finally said no.
Yeah, but 17,
I don't know why you gave him that pay raise.
Especially with COVID. I would have kept him on the same amount of wages, just bump up some of his bonuses. There's no reason to double his salary.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the option. I didn't really care too much about the salary increase as long as the reason why you were bringing him back, there was a reason for that, and you were going to build a structure or formation that actually utilizes his skills.
I just didn't like that the captaincy came with the extension either.
Yeah, I don't that one I didn't get. I don't understand why does he care if he's the captain or not? He gets no more money being the captain of Arsenal than he gets for.
Yous have always done that though for a very long since the era, or even before. I don't know. You've always been a team that you give the armband to top striker, almost like, please don't go home, will you wear the armband sort of thing, to keep them happy.
Stupid, right? It's really dumb.
And
it's really stupid. What?
Yeah, I've never agreed with it, but you've always seemed to do it.
Yeah, and Arsenal, but Arteta did say if people want to be at Arsenal, if that's the case, then you don't have to sell them with the idea of being a captain, right? They just want to be there anyways, right? So this is the keeping William playing all those games and Pepe watching him, just really, 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 really bad. Really, really bad. This comment here is kind of the other part to it, right? Oh, did we lose Tom? But
no, it's Tom for a second. He'll be back.
Players not managing the players well, where they will leave and come back into the squad, not because maybe because they need it, definitely because they need it. Either they're tired or their form is down. They need a little bit of time away. You should have a squad that can do that.
And it surprised me at the start of the year how quick he came back after a long Euros. He was right back in the squad. Obviously needed rest at points of the season, never got it. Played him in every cup game virtually. And just, you have to rotate your players. That's why we are where we're at, because people like Tavares and Sambi just haven't had the game time to click with these players. Communication isn't there. They don't have an understanding because they haven't played them in a real game. Arteta puts way too much on training. I mean, you can't duplicate the same things in training because you're not going to be going up teams as hard. They're coming at you harder in games. It's just he's always based too much what happens in training. You hear him saying training. Just you go by what you see on the pitch. Last year, Lacazette was scoring, made 3 in his first 3. Yeah, Pepe was scoring and assisting all over, but they both kept getting benched. Persisted with Aubameyang.
I mean, what is it? The first sackable offense is Xhaka going to is it Herbert Berlin and Arteta telling him no, you should stay here.
40 million euros.
You should
At the start of COVID.
What? I mean, okay, here we go.
He's still in your club.
No, think about it. You're the captain of Arsenal.
He's tried to leave 3 times, Tom, and we've kept him.
Think about it. You're a captain of Arsenal, right? You've been a captain of Arsenal. You're sitting there watching it or whatever. A current captain of the team tells the fans what to do. Takes his shirt off, throws the armband on the ground, throws his jersey on the ground. Now, and this is the levels. This is when you bring up like Vieira and Arteta being captains. It's like they're on different levels. It's not the same thing. Guess what? Xhaka is on an even lower level, and it's not even really about football at that point, right? It's just
If
like
He's only part of that totem pole, Gary.
A Leeds player did what he did, they would never play for our club again. It would not happen. No matter how good he is, it would not happen.
You'd have him chained up in your dungeon, Tom. We know what would happen.
I mean, you think about it.
No, instant kill.
No, I mean, there's certain things you can't. If you're talking about like we got the history, how big the club is, you know what? That is not, as they say, the Arsenal way. All right, it's not. It doesn't work that way. If we're gonna try to bring a culture, that can't be it. It can't be built on things like that. Players like that. Because if that's not a reason why you don't play, then why is Aubameyang not here? Because he didn't do anything near his issue as big as that. The guy just basically spit on Wenger, and you said, "Oh no, just wipe it off, Wenger. It's okay. It's all right. We just moisture. You just rub it in, it'll go away." No, I mean that's basically what he did.
There's a modern football mentality of, we need him more than we can't afford to keep him in the reserves. Sort of thing. Like if that had happened in I'm not going to say like the olden days, but if a player had done that in the 70s or 80s, they'd have been put in the reserves and they'd have never played for the club because they spat on the badge sort of mentality. Yep. But now, because they're on 150 grand a week, you've got the guy paying it, the chairman, sitting there going, well, I don't want to give someone 150 grand a week to train with the kids. He's playing. I don't care what he did, because they're actually fronting the money and they're giving it to him.
Yeah. So on top of that, you want, and then on top of that, you want players to come and play for you and play for the badge. What?
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to play for your badge. They're coming to play for you because there's a number on a piece of paper that they really, really like. Right?
It's an opportunity to make lots of money.
Right. And so you can't claim to want players who are hungry, and that's it. No, they come in also because you're going to pay them well. If they're hungry enough, you pay them a lot more, right? The days of like those players coming in just playing and not really caring about their contracts are gone, right? And so you need to find players that will play, will get paid, and will play for that. Will give you your money's worth, right? Return on investment. If I give you $100K a week, I'm going to get $150K out of you if I can. All right, Mark. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. This is Arteta and Mertesacker wore the armband well after second. Arteta was a worse captain than Mertesacker. Both part of the spoiled week run, I'm telling you. Yeah, man.
And that's why I don't understand why Mertesacker such a head of an academy. I would have did it with Freddie because you had Mertesacker talking about being so nervous before the games, being scared of losing that he'd throw up. I mean, how is that any type of leader you want around the club?
He was an all right player for you.
He was an okay player. I like the big fucking German, but his mentality wasn't there.
Tony. Oh God, Tony.
That's his name. That's his name.
Your a character. I'll give
No,
you
I mean,
that.
I think what Arsenal did, which was poor, is they must have had a reason. They brought Freddie in to cover, right, for a couple of weeks, and then eventually didn't want him anymore. And it's like the reason why you have the Emil Swift Rose and the Sakas is because partly of what Freddie had done, if my understanding is correct, right? He was um, ahead of the U23s or something like that. So why wouldn't you want to continue that? If you're talking about building something big, right? And the fact that he's got a Saka and a Milsrif Road that's playing starting for you, and they're still too young to be in the position they're at, shows that he was pretty good at whatever he was doing, right? So yeah, I don't know what Freddie did, but he also was not. I guess he just wasn't on the. He just wasn't one of the old boys, as they say. Yeah. And this is what
because
is this?
Saka and Smith Rowe both said Freddie were key to their development.
Yeah. And he wasn't. I mean, think about it. You bring him in and you give him basically nobody to run Arsenal. Think about it. You give him nobody to run Arsenal.
They didn't give him assistant coaches.
He had to scramble to go find guys sitting at their desks and come in and help him. And it's like, come on, this is supposed to be the Arsenal, right? This is what you're doing to your. We're supposed to take you seriously when you say you're all about trying to get this team where you want it to be, and you do that.
Especially a guy that was a key part of your history of your good years. You treat him like that just makes no sense. Yeah. Here you go. We're not going to support you at all. We're looking for another guy. You can't have any assistants. Just go out there and coach.
Yeah, and this is kind of, we are basically, as Steven says here, a team of youth, but we just don't have any experience. I mean, we have nobody we can lean on with experience to get us where we want to go. Right? And we don't have a manager who can do the same too. I thought Tamarasaka did okay, with what's his name, played next to him. Oh my gosh. Chesney. Not Chesney. What is it? I mean, I think that center back pairing was actually was good for me. They both kind of worked.
Vermaelen?
No, not Vermaelen. No, I mean, he just retired. Why can't I think of his name? My name just went blank.
Segan?
Huh? No.
Pascal Segan.
Kachelny.
Kachelny. Yeah, sorry. Thank you there. Why not? But I thought that tandem worked well for what we had. Kachelny, he definitely. I mean, he was to me. He seemed much better in the air than Mertesacker. I mean, I remember him scoring multiple headers. I mean, before he left. So yeah, no, they got for me, they overachieved with them in terms of what they got out of those players. I mean, I don't, maybe overhyped, but I think they overachieved for sure.
Chelsea, Man United, West Ham, Leeds, that team. Oh, see.
Yeah, I don't usually use their name. So yeah, I don't like saying their name.
The boogeyman.
No, but you look at the lineup. I mean, it's it starts and ends well, and then in the middle, it's just really, really just nasty and ugly. And where do you go? All right, I think there's 3 points here. There isn't. It's not that easy.
I can take a guess at where you're probably going to get 3 points.
Well, yeah, no. You know what? I'm any team who comes out. I mean, any team that comes out with a good plan is going to be okay against us the way we've been playing. Until I see different, I won't be surprised if Leeds give us a game. All right.
Or even Everton.
I mean, Everton
It would be nice if we were
Everton
competitive.
Yeah, but you know what?
Keep in mind, though, before we play you, we play Man City and Chelsea, which is not ideal. But,
yeah, you guys are.
But then you play us, and it's like a step down, right? So you're like, it was really tough. We lost 2-3, 4-0 to the big boys, and then okay, we're playing Arsenal. Yeah.
Well, I hope that is the case in the sense, not that we lose 4-0 to them, but I hope it is treated like, well, Arsenal might roll over for us. But no.
I don't. It's weird because I don't even think we roll over. I just don't think we come out prepared for whatever's about to happen. We know what you're going to do. We know how you can beat us, and we don't know how we're going to beat you. And we don't have answers if you decide to stop whatever has been working for us, right? Once again, plan A, no plan B.
We are getting our players back. You're going to be playing literally a different Leeds team than the one in the first game.
And you're literally playing a different team than you played by that time. We don't know who left back is. You know where midfielders are. You might see a different striker if it gets to that. You never know.
I can tell you something interesting or really weird about the way it's going to go. Before Burnley played Norwich on Sunday, we had 3 games in hand. Burnley had 3 games in hand on us, and they were 9 points behind. So now they're 9 points behind with 2 games in hand. However, the way the fixture list works out, because we don't play this Saturday, is Burnley, by the time we play next, Burnley will be 1 game in front of us. They would have played 4 times before we played once.
That's crazy.
And hopefully they will lose them all. But they obviously don't work like that. But
come on, Tom, you got a 5% chance of getting relegated.
That right there is what Arsenal doesn't do. Like, they don't go all out for everything. I mean, you saw that in the last 2 games. It was like that. I mean, if there was a ball rolling around on the ground, we weren't getting to it. Ball in the air, we weren't attacking it. A loose pass, we weren't going to either recover it or attack the ball that just wasn't held onto, wasn't picked up. So, and that's on the manager. That's not necessarily the players. The manager's got to get that out of his players because it's in there. We've seen it. So I
was going to say,
the one thing I know. International break and how much of it's kind of them finally kind of giving up on the manager a little because they're definitely not fighting like they should be.
The one thing I know my team can do, we've been fighting. Yeah. For the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, the last 4 games, we're fighting everybody. It's not been pretty, but points are all that matter at the moment.
Yeah, well, and that's what teams from the Championship, most of them anyways, have to do. I mean, no matter how good they are. I mean, I know Fulham, you say might come up and go right back down again, but they started out, they had some games where they came out and played, and you're like, damn, if you could just do that consistently, it'll be okay. And it looked like they might have been able to do that, but eventually they weren't. They just, the weight of the league, this is too much if you haven't set up to do that from the get-go, right? So
it's the tactical change. It's too jarring. In my opinion, part of the reason we survived the first season in the Premier League was because we came up and played the same tactics that we played in the Championship. Yeah. Whereas what you'll find Norwich and Fulham do, they play dominant attacking football in the Championship, steamroller it, come up and then revert to defensive football where they still get hammered. But then because you're playing defensively, you're not in a position to sucker punch anyone or get a shock result as such.
Yeah.
Or you might get one, but you ain't gonna get enough of them to like move the needle or keep your head above water. Yeah. Whereas when they then go back down, they revert back to the attacking football, and that's how Fulham are going to end up getting 100 points or something. Yeah. But then they're going to come back up, and they've already sold one their young starlets. They've already sold to Liverpool. It's like agreed. I can't remember his name, Camero or something like that. But whatever, but they've sold him to Liverpool for $7 million in summer.
Yeah,
and whether he plays for Liverpool or not, his point is though is that he will probably be important to Fulham surviving, and he's gone.
And that, like you said, you have a certain style that you play. You continue to play it, and that's what got you. That's why you're so high up there. They're so high up the table, right? That makes no sense, right? You saw like he said, when Leeds came up and I think it was Liverpool they played, and everybody was surprised that no matter what Liverpool did, you had an answer for it, right? And you catch them early in the season, you catch a team on a really bad day, you playing your way, you get something out of it, and that's why I think there was a point where I just picked Leeds all the time. Like I was like, what, Leeds hasn't scored in a while. Boom. There you go. 3 to 4 goals came out,
That's the thing. It was like there were games where last season, like we finished ninth, like middle of the pack, but there were some games where we took some real beatings. But then next week we'd go out and we'd give someone else a bit of a beating, and it gave me a heart attack to watch it. But it was still, we felt like we were trying. Whereas, like, if I sit there and I'm like, I know Norwich have won this weekend, like, and they did do well against Burnley, but across the season, I can't imagine sitting there and just feeling like you're waiting to end up back in the Championship because you want to know what it feels like to win football matches.
Yeah, and that and that's just, like I said, that's just a terrible mindset. It doesn't really. That's not what fans want. That's just not what we want. This is, I guess, something we haven't really talked about it. It's not really been the elephant in the room. But it has been. Well, it could have been.
It was offside.
It was. You know what? They didn't. For me, they didn't show. They can't confirm it.
Was it clear and obvious though, Tom?
What I was going to say about it is, my issue with it is, if you look at it and you study it by the rules of football, because of the position of the goalkeeper, he is offside. Like, he's factually offside. However, if you need to take 5 minutes to determine
it's not clear and obvious,
you should just go with what the referee gave on the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I believe was goal.
Yep.
But once you have made the decision to, we're going to study every nook and cranny of this, it is offside. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, and that's the consistency that we're talking about. If you're going to do that, then you better do that for other kind of 50-50 calls, right? And they don't do that at all. Arsenal's had multiple times where they've looked at the similar play where we want them to take their time to get it right. That's what they're doing, all right? 20 seconds later, nothing. It's going to continue on.
If it was given, you would have won the game. Yeah. If it was given, in my opinion, you would have been set up in a position to go on to win that game.
But
the problem is that it was offside by the rules of football. So
Tom,
I can't sit there going, you got screwed
over to the monitor to look at it. He never went over to look at it.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't think, I think it.
I think it's unfortunate for you that that's how it played out.
Yeah. No, if they're going to do that, do it all the time.
But it's still not clear and obvious.
We've had goals probably taken away where we thought we could have got, or there could be a penalty shout and they didn't even bother to look at it.
I agree with Tony.
Xhaka got taken down in the box. They didn't even look at that. Nah, nothing happened. Are you serious? What?
I mean, he most likely was
and
like
in
this
that same
far
weekend,
offsides, but
in that same weekend, they looked at a call similar
none
to
of
that.
the
and
video
called
showed
it.
that he was clearly offside.
Don't worry, my team don't get VAR penalties
No,
either.
so that's why
My team are. We've got one of the blacklisted players. Dan James is on like the invisible list of divers, even though he's not actually diving, but he's got the reputation, which means that if he goes down, they know just ignore it.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, but you know.
And this doesn't make any sense. If you're going to have VAR, then VAR has to make sense. And the only way it makes sense is if you give the officials what they need.
And I was bring up
What is
something
that?
from the last game.
What?
I'm actually surprised they've not done what the NFL has, where they have the sky camera that goes above the field.
Yeah.
So, like for example, it's actually a perfect example of it. That VAR decision on Saturday would probably be a lot quicker to reach if you had the angle where you was directly above it, because then you could go, that's the goalkeeper, he's in front of the defender, so the defender now de facto becomes the goalkeeper, he's offside. Settled in seconds.
Yeah. No,
but because they've only got from the side, you have to start making out.
No, but
who's that foot belong to?
See, what you just said there. No, that can't be the way that you. If the rules are set, then you have to see it, and you have to be able to say that is exactly the rule being broken. Now, I assume it is because of all these other things going on.
That's why I'm saying it's wrong. They shouldn't.
It wasn't a clear and obvious error.
If you can't determine that he's offside within 15 seconds, let's say, go with what your original opinion was.
Yeah. I mean, if because Maguire grabbing whoever, I think it was White or whoever he grabbed in the box. We saw that given via VAR later on in the season, right? What's the difference? No difference. It's two players, one fouling in the box on a cross, right? Coming in. I mean, come on. I mean, that's the problem. It's like, just give me some consistency. I don't care if you get it wrong or right, but just I need to see the same things across the game.
The problem with consistency is when you've got, say, 10 referees, that referee is going to argue let's say one referee. Let's just say Mike Dean, for example, it's the most famous one I think of, is going to say that he is consistent. But then what he determines as consistent is different to what...
And the rules, but then you just sat there and told me this is the rules of the game say this is it's pretty clear and evident. This is how the rules are meant to be followed, right? And so you're telling me they're not even following their own rules, which really is just really poor. And they want us to really believe in that they're doing the right thing for the league. It's killing the sport to some degree, right? Nobody can cheer as much as they want to for a goal anymore. Especially if it looks 50-50, right? If it looks suspect, right? You're just like,
like Sterling celebrated what he assumed was going to be the game-winning goal. And then they wait for him to celebrate. Then they look at it and then go, no, this ain't a goal. Chris Wood scored on Friday. Celebrated his first goal at home and all that. Yeah, he ended up getting his first goal at home, but he didn't know he was going to get that. And he celebrated, and then they waited for that, and they went, no, actually, you was offside.
Okay.
Annoying.
It's killing the sport. So here we go. We are sitting here. It's been 90 minutes plus here. I think we have we've pretty much covered the gambit. We haven't even talked. I think we talked a little bit about Leeds, probably not as much as we could have. But
we barely talked about the game.
Next week, Arsenal is we got Southampton. It has to be 3 points. I don't care. I mean, I do care how we perform. I'd rather us perform. Whether that gets us the points, I'm not sure. If we perform well, we'll get the points. Right? And we haven't done that in the last 2 games. So, and we have to play whatever Arteta's asking the players to do, they need to be able to do it. And it needs to be a plan that works for me.
You'll benefit from the fact that they're on the beach. They can't be relegated. They can't qualify for Europe. They're practically done for the season.
If they're footballers,
you've got to take advantage of it.
They just got embarrassed last week at home in front of their fans. Their fans are not going to be like, all right, you know what? It's all right. We're on the beach. We got the sand in our hair.
No, of course
we don't
not.
care because we're mid-table. No, if you're a fan of Leeds and you just got spanked 6-0 and you get to go to the game, are you going to be like, it's all right if we don't win?
No, I actually watched Leeds get spanked 7-0 and then watched them get spanked 6-0 and was like, so this is what we do now. So
no, but you didn't go to the game expecting them to lose again the same way.
Actually, we looked at when we watched our fixture list.
Right,
I actually was sitting there like, we're gonna get fucked here, and oh god, we've got another one coming, and I was very. I know the point you're trying to make, but what does it feel like to blow out?
Tom, fall in line.
Right, I'll tell you, it felt fucking sweet, Lolo. To roll into Watford, just absolutely demoralise them, and then roll back out again. It felt fucking sweet. Pardon my language. No, actually, don't pardon my language. It did feel fucking sweet. Fuck them. We fucking beat them. We fucking took the points. We scored 3 times. We're going to send them back into the fucking abyss that's the championship, and we're going to fucking go from strength to strength, and maybe we might even finish 15th next year. Fucking A.
Tom said fuck more times in 30 seconds than he has his previous 4 appearances.
Oh, jeez. Steven, you just like Mike Dean? I mean, we're just like, you're just going from one crap official to another one. Great. Perfect. Yeah.
Never pardon your language, Tom.
Yeah. That's what Lola
No, it's because Gary's an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, as I usually say, it doesn't come off my tongue cool like that, so it doesn't even sound right, so I don't even bother. Yeah,
that's what me and Tom are around for.
Yeah, and I never thought Palace was on the beach. I thought Palace was playing. They're playing 100%, right? They're giving 100% effort when they're out there, and that's what you want. Your manager, no matter what, is getting the best out of you, no matter what, and that's
Brighton
what you want.
have been on the beach since September.
No. I just saw them last week or this weekend. They looked all right to me. I don't know about you. Did you see them?
They had VAR on their side, though. The fix was in.
No, it's VAR, yeah.
Don't worry, they knew. They had a phone call. They had a line to Stotley Park. They knew they were going to be all right. Don't worry.
They looked all right. All right, so here we go. We're going to say our goodbyes, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have Southampton coming up. I did check the schedule. Let's see. Leeds is playing.
We're not playing.
Oh, that's right. You don't play
until we don't play next week. We actually play in 2 Mondays' time at Crystal Palace on Monday Night Football.
Well, you get all right. That's right. You were supposed to play Chelsea, but that got canceled. All right.
That'll be an interesting game.
Right. So you got to. So you're saving a game up for Chelsea. All right. Got it. Crystal Palace after having that much time off. That didn't work out well for us.
It's obviously going to be a difficult game, but we beat Crystal Palace at home earlier in the season, so it's not like I'm sitting here like, oh god, they go. It's not like the other top 6 where we got absolutely battered, and then you sit there going, oh, we could get battered again. Like we could take a hiding at Palace, but the reality is that it's going to be one of the games that we have left that we'll look at that we can actually get something.
True.
How do you only end up playing twice in April, Tom?
Well, because we played a lot in February, you may remember.
Yeah, I mean in January, we only played in January. I think we only played one league game.
Keep in mind, we're one of the teams that didn't really have games called off for COVID or injuries. Well, we definitely didn't have games called off for injuries, but so we've played the most games because we never had them called off. So everyone else is catching up. So we get to sit at home.
Lolo's got faith in you guys. You just run it back and then get out of here. Bargav, thanks for joining us. We are just about to head out of here. So I'm going to go here and
our only game that got called off was Liverpool.
Yeah. All right, Tom's good. Tell the people what they want to hear as you head out of here.
You can find me on on Stoop with Lolo on Friday nights. And don't follow me on Twitter.
You're just gonna get some memes if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
right. You said
people
to get
should
healthy,
follow.
right? All
At
right.
least
So,
Steven Dimon should follow
so
Tom
Tony,
on
as we
Twitter.
head out, what you got to say?
Tom was brought to us by the letter F. We
And
have
a
a
letter- and a letter
must-win
U.
game this weekend, which pretty much the rest of the seasons are must-win games. But just go out, enjoy life. There's more to life than football. Don't get stressed out about it. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your health. Go out and have fun.
Cool. Thank you. And as Tony said, so you can see, like I said, you can see Tom on Fridays on the Stoop. You can see Tony here on Mondays and Sundays and Thursdays with me and Ray and the gang.
Sometimes on Fridays on the Stoop. So
There you go. And sometimes on Friday. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed what we had to talk about. We are playing Southampton, so once again, I'm hoping that we get the points. And this is I didn't think they were easy points, but I definitely thought we needed 9 points out of the 3 games, and we're not even going to get 4. So here we are. So welcome to the show. We will do this again on Monday after the Southampton game. Hopefully, we can talk about 3 points, all of the points, and actually some scoring. That would be nice. It'd be nice to score, right? More than 1 goal. So we'll do that. I would chat with you then. And as I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. And we'll do this again. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you later. And we're out. Goodbye.